This is Mutt with Tallahassee Harley-Davidson, and we finally got our hands on a 2020 Lowrider S, and I'm extremely excited about this bike. First things first, though. Before we get into why I'm excited about it, let's talk about some of the things some of the guys have been worried about. First things first, it comes with a 114 engine instead of a 117. And a lot of people thought because the 2017 came with a 110, like the CVOs from 2017, that we were also going to get a 117 engine on the Lowrider S. Not quite the case, but after riding it, I can tell you that the 114 is way more than enough power. This thing will blow you away. Another concern people had were the fact that it comes with mid-control, so taller people like myself, I'm 6'1", were kind of concerned that maybe your knees were going to ride too high on the tank and it wasn't going to be a comfortable ride without putting forwards on it. After riding it, I don't have that complaint anymore, especially if you're riding it the way it's designed to be ridden. Putting your weight directly over the bike was perfectly fine. My knees didn't ride too high on the tank or anything like that. And if you're really worried about stretching out, you can absolutely put a mustache bar or something simple like that on there, be able to stretch out on longer rides. Other than that, this bike is everything Harley said that it was going to be. It handles extremely well. It's put together well. What I mean when I say that is really simple, actually. So small things that a lot of people don't consider, like the placement of the foot brake on this bike is really well done. I never felt uncomfortable or like I was having to pivot my foot too far to touch the brake. The tachometer and the speedometer being set up in the center of the console instead of on the bars like some of the newer models is really nice, and they had the forethought to give you the digital display on the bottom of your speedometer. You have all of the newer advantages of the digital display on some of the other bikes with the old school appeal of a speedometer and a tachometer that still read the same way everything else does. Some people were concerned about the 4-inch risers instead of the 6-inch risers. I think they made a really good call on 4 inches. It felt really natural to ride on the bike, and the riding posture that you have was extremely comfortable, whether you were just kind of cruising or whether I was just kind of cruising or actually trying to kind of get into a turn or anything like that. Other than that, we added a couple of small things to this bike. Well, we will be adding a couple of small things. The first thing we did, obviously, are the pipes on this bike, and I cannot speak highly enough of the way that they sound. They sound and look phenomenal. The thing that we're waiting on is we also have a coastal fairing on order from Harley to put on the front of this bike, give it more of that club bike style. And honestly, I can't wait to check that out either. Obviously, as Harley already told us and sent us pictures of, this bike is styled exactly like they have in the past, and that's dark styling. It's got the brass wheels, which are a little bit darker than a lot of people imagine, but honest to goodness, especially in the sunlight, I think these things look fantastic. The bike itself is very reminiscent of the same 80s style Harley logo that the other lowriders had. You can see right here on the tank. All in all, I have absolutely zero complaints when it comes to anything about this bike, especially being on the soft tail frame. I didn't realize how big a difference it was going to make to give it that extra bit of handling and acceleration and braking that comes with this chassis until I was actually riding it. If you haven't ridden this bike yet, I highly recommend you come take a test ride with us today as soon as possible. If you'd like to actually come see it in the whole 9 yards, come see Mutt, Tallahassee Harley-Davidson. Be more than happy to show you around it. Make sure you go take a test ride and everything else. Other than that, have a good day.